Hello everyone, welcome to my kitchen. My name is Michael. I've been busy in the kitchen. These are my cranberry orange muffins. They've got some strudel on the top of them. I've got some orange glaze or icing on the top. All of that's homemade. I'm going to show you how to make that as well. Look how beautiful these cranberries are, and you can really see I've got a nice crumb on these muffins. I know you're going to love this one. Let's get started making them. I've got a large bowl here, and I've got a colander that I'm going to be using to sift my dry ingredients together. We're going to start out with a cup and a half of all-purpose flour, or that's 180 grams. I've got 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon baking soda, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and now I'm going to sift those ingredients together. Now I've got the zest of 1 orange, and we'll add that in. I'm going to take a whisk and integrate that zest in with those other ingredients and make sure that all of it gets mixed well together, and we'll set that to the side. Now I have another large bowl here, and we'll start working on our wet ingredients. I've got a 1/4 cup of freshly squeezed orange juice, or that's 60 milliliters, and we'll add that into the bowl. Now I've got 1/2 cup of sour cream, and that's 125 grams, and we'll add that into the orange juice. Now I have a 1/2 cup, or that's 1 stick of unsalted butter, or 113 grams, and you want that melted, and we'll just add that in with the other ingredients. Now we're going to add in 2 large eggs, and these are at room temperature, and I'm going to break those into this other little bowl here just to make sure I've got 2 good ones and I don't have any eggshells in there. It's easier to get the eggshells out of the little bowl than to get it mixed in with the other ingredients, and then we'll add that to the other ingredients. And now I'll do the same thing to my second egg. Next, I've got 3/4 of a cup of white sugar, or that's 150 grams, and we'll add that into the other ingredients. Next, I'm going to add in 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Now I'm going to take my hand mixer. You can use a whisk if you want to, and we will beat or whisk these ingredients together for a couple of minutes. Now that I've got my wet ingredients well incorporated, now we're going to take the dry ingredients and we'll add the dry to the wet ingredients. Now I'm going to take a spatula here, and I'm going to mix the wet and the dry ingredients together, and we just want to incorporate those together until you don't see the flour anymore. You do not want to overwork your batter at this point. Just make sure that the flour and the wet ingredients are mixed together where you don't see any more of the flour. Now that we have the wet and the dry ingredients mixed together, I'm going to take 1.5 cups of fresh cranberries, and I'm going to put that into the batter, and I'm just going to incorporate those in, just fold them together until they get mixed in with the batter. Now that we've got our cranberries incorporated into the batter, we'll set those to the side. I'm going to grab me a small bowl, and now we're going to make the streusel topping for our muffins, and we're going to add in 1/8 of a cup, or that's 2 tablespoons, or 20 grams of all-purpose flour. To that, I'm going to add in 1/8 of a cup, or 2 tablespoons, or 30 grams of white sugar. I've added in now 1 tablespoon of unsalted butter, or that's 15 grams, and you want that to be really cold. I'm going to take this fork and break that butter up initially just to get it started. Now that I've got that butter broken up, I'm going to take my clean hands here, and I'm going to go in and work together the flour, sugar, and butter together. You want to make sure that when you're working this together, that you leave a little few chunks of the butter in there as you incorporate that in, and I'll show you what that looks like here in just a minute. I've got all of my ingredients mixed together, and you can see here what that texture looks like. You want it to look just like that, and we'll set that to the side. Now I've got a jumbo muffin pan here, and in that I've got 6 of the jumbo cupcake liners. We want to put those in there. It makes it a lot easier to take these out when these get done. And we're going to take a ice cream scoop here, whatever you want to use. You can use a spoon, and you want to fill these paper cups here about 3/4 of the way up. I'm going to continue to work on my muffins here and get the rest of these filled up. And while I'm doing that, I do have my oven preheating now to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, or that's roughly 180 degrees Celsius. I've got all of my batter now, my muffin tin, and I was able to get 7 of my muffins here, and I'm going to take my streusel that I've got, and I'm going to evenly distribute that out over the top of my muffins here. That's going to add so much extra flavor to these. I've got all of my streusel now evenly distributed out through my muffins, and I've taken some extra cranberries here, and I've cut those in half, and I'm going to put about 3 or 4 halves of each one of those cranberries on the top of each one of my muffins. Now I've put a half pan baking sheet underneath my muffin tin. That's just going to help these bake evenly and make them not get so dark and brown on the bottom. And we're going to put these in that preheated oven for 25 to 30 minutes. Mine takes about 26 minutes in mine. Everyone's oven cooks a little bit differently, so check it with a toothpick or a wooden skewer. If it comes out clean, you know they're done. My muffins are done. I did take a toothpick. You can stick it down into the muffin, and if it comes out clean and dry, you know that the muffins are done. Now I'm going to take the muffins out of the muffin pan, and I'm going to take the side of this fork here and just stick it down in there so I can get it started, and I'm going to remove those and put those on this wire rack to cool down. Now I've got all of the muffins out of the muffin pan. I'm going to let these sit here on the counter and cool down. You want these to be at least room temperature. I'm going to start making my topping now, or my icing, and you don't want to put that onto a warm or hot muffin because it will just melt right into it. So let these cool down and I'll come back and we'll get started on our orange glaze. Now that we've got our cranberry orange muffins cooling down on this rack, I'm going to set these to the side and we're going to start making that glaze for those. So I've got a bowl here and I've got a half a cup of confectioner sugar or powdered sugar, and that is about 65 grams. I've got 2 tablespoons of half and half, or you can use heavy cream if you've got that. And I've got the zest of 1 orange. I'm going to go ahead and put the zest of the orange into the powdered sugar. And I've got a small whisk here, and I just want to kind of incorporate that zest into that powdered sugar and kind of break up some of those lumps on that. I've got the orange zest now incorporated into the powdered sugar. I wanted to show you what that looked like. Now I'm going to take my cream that I've got here and I'm going to put in just a little bit. You can add this slowly. You might not need all of it. And we'll put in just a little bit of it here. And just give that a stir around. And you can see already that it's starting to come together. So it's not going to take much of the cream to do that. So we're going to put in just a little bit more now. And you just want to keep adding this until you get the consistency you like. If you like it on a little bit thicker side, then definitely don't put as much cream in. If you like it on a little bit more of the runny side, then definitely add more cream to it. And you can see what that orange zest is doing to that sugar. It is really pretty. Look at that orange color that's coming through there. I'm going to put just a little bit more cream in there. It's almost getting close. It's a little bit on the thick side of where I like it, so just put a little bit more cream in. Now I've got my glaze made here, and I wanted to show you what that looked like. We've got a nice consistency to that glaze. It's going to come out of that very nicely. Now I can use this little whisk and put that over the top of my muffins, or I can use a spoon, but I'm going to show you another little trick. If you've got a Ziploc bag, or if you've got a piping bag with a small little tip on it, you can definitely do that. So I'm going to show you how to do this little trick here. I'm going to put my glaze down into the piping bag. I'll put just a little bit down in it. I'm going to take as much of the air out of it as I can, and we're going to close that up. I went and grabbed a pair of scissors, and what you want to do now is you want to take the very end of it here, where the tip of it is, and we want to cut just a very small end of that off. Now that we've got that cut off, I'm going to take one of my muffins that I've got here, and we'll bring it back over. And I'm going to take that and I'm going to push that glaze down into that corner of that bag. Now that I've got my glaze pushed down into the corner, we'll take that and just start squeezing that, and that'll come out of the tip of that. And you can make any kind of designs that you want across the top of it. And we'll just go across it just like that and just make some back and forth lines on it. And if you want to go this direction, you can do that as well. I've got my muffin now with the glaze on the top of it. I'm going to go ahead and work on the other 6. This recipe did make 7 today, so I'll continue to work on my other muffins, and I'll be back in just a minute and we'll get into this and get a taste test. All right, I've got my muffins drizzled now. I drizzled 4 of those, and I left 2 of them without the extra icing on the top of it in case you might want one without it. You can definitely leave that off. I want to give this a taste. Look at that, how pretty and nice that is. This is going to be one of your favorite recipes. I know it. Let's give this one a try. These are absolutely delicious. I know you're going to want to try this recipe. That orange is coming through, the tartness of those cranberries and that sugar in there makes that combination really nice. And if you like this content, maybe you might consider giving me a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. And while you're at it, check out one of these other 2 videos over here on the side. You might find something else you like. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye now.